Ghost, come on, man, don't do this.
Ghost did not lose because he was weak. He lost because he believed he could control every version of the truth. He controlled the club. He controlled the streets. He controlled his image. He controlled what people saw, what they knew, and what they were allowed to believe about him. But the one person he needed to be honest with the most was the one person he treated like a problem to manage: his son. Tariq did not become Ghost's enemy overnight. He was not born that way. He was shaped. He was taught. He was lied to. He was ignored, corrected, protected, and manipulated until the line between love and control disappeared. And the tragedy is this: Ghost spent his entire life trying to escape the life that created him. But by hiding that life from his son, he made sure Tariq would chase it even harder. This is not just a story about a father and a son. This is a story about a man who wanted a legacy so badly that he destroyed the only people who could have carried it. This is how Ghost created his own worst enemy. Ghost's entire identity is built on a contradiction. On one side, he is James St. Patrick, the businessman, the father, the husband, the man in the suit, the man who wants to be respected without being feared. On the other side, he is Ghost, the strategist, the criminal, the man who understands leverage, silence, timing, and betrayal, the man who survived because he learned that emotion can get you killed. Most characters in crime stories choose one identity and sink into it. Ghost tries to do something more dangerous. He tries to keep both. He wants the rewards of the street life without the stain of it. He wants the money, the authority, and the power, but he also wants the world to see him as clean. That is what makes him interesting, but it is also what makes him dangerous to the people closest to him. Because when a man splits himself in half for too long, everybody around him is forced to live inside that split. His family lives in the nice apartment, but their safety is built on secrets. His children live with privilege, but that privilege is paid for by the very life he refuses to explain to them. His wife understands parts of him his children never could. His friends know the Ghost. The public sees James. And Tariq grows up in the middle of all of it. That matters because children do not only learn from what parents say, they learn from the silence. They learn from the locked doors. They learn from the way adults change their voice when certain names are mentioned. Ghost believed he was protecting Tariq by hiding the truth. But hiding the truth is not the same as protecting someone from it. Sometimes hiding the truth only makes the truth more powerful. The most painful thing about Ghost and Tariq is not that they are different. It is that they are too similar. Ghost sees Tariq as the future he is trying to build. Clean, educated, free from the street. The son who will never have to make the choices he made. But underneath that dream is something darker. Ghost does not just want Tariq to have a better life. He wants Tariq to validate the lie that Ghost has been telling himself. The lie is simple. If my son escapes this life, then maybe I was never really trapped by it. That is why Ghost cannot handle Tariq's rebellion. To another father, it might look like a teenager making bad choices. To Ghost, it is personal. Tariq choosing the street feels like proof that Ghost failed to outrun himself. So instead of speaking to Tariq like someone who deserves the truth, Ghost treats him like a project. Fix the grades, fix the attitude, fix the friends, fix the disrespect, fix the choices, but Tariq does not want to be fixed by a man who refuses to admit what he is. That is where the fracture starts. A father can discipline a son. A father can guide a son. But a father cannot demand honesty while living behind a mask. Ghost demands trust from Tariq without offering transparency in return. He wants obedience without confession. He wants his son to believe in the clean version of James St. Patrick while the shadow of Ghost keeps entering the room. And Tariq is smart enough to notice. That is the problem Ghost never fully respects. Tariq is not blind. He is not naive. He can feel the difference between protection and control. When children sense that adults are lying, they do not always ask for the truth. Sometimes they go looking for it in the worst possible place. Every secret creates an opening. For Tariq, that opening was Kanan. Kanan works in the story because he is not simply another enemy. He is the version of the past that Ghost tried to bury. He represents the life Ghost knows, the decisions Ghost made, and the damage Ghost wants to keep separate from his family. To Tariq, Kanan offers something Ghost refuses to give him: a direct explanation of the world around him. That does not mean Kanan is honest in some pure way. He is manipulating Tariq too. But manipulation is strongest when it contains pieces of truth, and that is what makes Kanan dangerous. He does not have to invent Ghost's hypocrisy. He only has to point at it. He does not have to create Tariq's resentment. He only has to feed it. He does not have to become Tariq's father. He only has to become the adult who finally stops treating him like a child. That is the emotional trap. Ghost thinks Tariq is being corrupted from the outside. But Tariq is vulnerable to that corruption because of what was already happening inside the house. Kanan becomes the answer to questions Ghost never wanted Tariq to ask. Who are you really? Where did this money come from? Why do people fear you? Why does every room change when your past walks in? When Ghost refuses to answer those questions, Kanan answers them for him. And the first person to explain a forbidden world often becomes the person who owns it. Ghost's fatal flaw is not that he does not love his family. He does. That is what makes the tragedy work. If Ghost did not care, there would be no wound. The pain comes from the fact that he cares deeply, but his idea of love is infected by control. He believes protection means deciding what people are allowed to know. He believes leadership means moving everyone like pieces on a board. He believes being the smartest man in the room gives him the right to rewrite reality for everyone else. That works in business, works in the street, it works in a war, it does not work in a family. Because a family is not built on leverage, it is built on trust. And trust breaks differently than power. When power breaks, you can replace it. You can make a new deal, you can remove a threat, you can change the board. When trust breaks, the damage keeps living inside the person. That is what happens with Tariq. Every lie teaches him a lesson. Every cover-up becomes a class. Every attempt to control improves the same point. Adults only tell the truth when it benefits them. So Tariq starts learning the wrong lesson from the right teacher. He learns from Ghost that image matters more than honesty. He learns that love can come with conditions. He learns that the person who controls the narrative controls the room. A lot of people look at Tariq and see betrayal. But the deeper truth is more disturbing. Tariq is not the opposite of Ghost. He is Ghost without the illusion. Ghost wants to believe that his criminal life was a chapter he can close. Tariq sees it as a language, a system, a set of rules that adults pretend not to use until they need them. And because he grows up watching Ghost, Tariq learns faster than anyone wants to admit. He learns how to hide emotion. He learns how to tell people what they want to hear. He learns how to weaponize being underestimated. He learns that a clean face can hide dirty work. The tragedy is that Ghost wanted Tariq to become James St. Patrick, but he taught him how to become Ghost, not by handing him a gun, not by giving him a business plan, not by sitting him down and explaining the game. He taught him through contradiction. He taught him by saying one thing and living another. He taught him by demanding rules that he himself did not follow. He taught him by proving that survival belongs to the person who can control the story. That is why Tariq's transformation feels inevitable. Not because he is innocent, not because he is right, but because he is a mirror Ghost refuses to look into. A son does not always inherit what his father gives him. Sometimes he inherits what his father tries to hide. The saddest part of Ghost's downfall is that his worst enemy is not simply Tariq. His worst enemy is the version of himself that Tariq reflects back at him. Ghost can defeat external threats. He understands enemies. He understands deals. He understands how to turn pressure into opportunity, but he cannot defeat the mirror. Because the mirror does not attack from the outside. It forces you to see what you are. Tariq becomes that mirror. He shows Ghost that the life he tried to bury is still alive. He shows him that secrets do not disappear because you moved into a nicer building. He shows him that children can inherit trauma even when parents call it protection. And most importantly, Tariq shows him that Ghost's greatest skill, controlling the narrative, can be used against him. That is why the ending feels less like a random betrayal and more like a consequence. Not a clean consequence. Not a justified consequence, but a consequence. Ghost spent years building a wall between James and Ghost. Tariq grew up in the shadow of that wall. And when he finally chose a side, he did not choose James. He chose the part of his father that had been teaching him in silence all along. Ghost did not create Tariq's darkness by accident. He created it by refusing to name his own. Legacy is not what people say about you when you are winning. Legacy is what survives after your control is gone. Ghost wanted to leave behind an empire, a name, a future. He wanted his children to inherit a life untouched by the choices that built it. But that was impossible because the foundation was never clean. The deeper tragedy is that Ghost's dream was not entirely wrong. Wanting your children to escape your mistakes is not evil. Wanting a better future is not hypocrisy by itself. The hypocrisy comes when you demand that future while refusing to tell the truth about the past. Ghost wanted Tariq to become better than him, but he never gave Tariq the full truth he needed to understand what better even meant. So Tariq built his own definition, and in that definition, power mattered, control mattered, survival mattered. The truth mattered only when it could be used. That is Ghost's real legacy. Not the club, not the money, not the name, not the suit. The real legacy is the lesson he accidentally taught his son. If the world is built on lies, learn to lie better. And that is why Ghost's story hurts. Because he was not destroyed by someone who never understood him. He was destroyed by someone who understood him too well. Ghost created his own worst enemy because he never realized that a hidden life is still a lesson. And sometimes the most dangerous thing a father can pass down is not his name, it is his mask. If you want more breakdowns like this, villains, anti-heroes, and the psychology behind the characters people misunderstand, subscribe to Nocturnal. Next time we look at another character who thought control was the same thing as freedom. Until then, stay awake.